Hello guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome to tonight's film review, which is called Four of the Apocalypse. Now, this is a spaghetti western, starring it's got a Fabio Testi is the main character's name. Star. It's a 1960s spaghetti western, directed by Lucio Fucci. And this tells a story of Stubby, Bunny, Clam, and Bud. Now, they are the four of the apocalypse, and it's a road journey pretty much about these four guys. And we meet the main character, Stubby, at the beginning. He's like a sort of gambler, but he's a cheater. He goes around town and sort of different towns, and he kind of like cheats his way through games. He's like a swindler. He arrives in the town and is greeted by the local sheriff, and straight away he's put into jail because he knows that he's this gambler. Stubby Preston, his name is, and in the jail cell, what he shares is the other three characters. We've got Bud, who's this black guy. He's really quite sweet at the beginning. He's quite sort of religious, and he believes that he sees visions. That's why he's in there, because I think he's mad. Then we've got Clam, who's a drunk. He's fantastic. And we've got Bunny, who's our female lead in the film. And she's a lady of the night, shall we say. And she's pregnant. But they don't know this yet. Anyway, they're all in prison, this jail cell, all getting to know each other, because they're all going to go off on this road trip. But before they do, there's a big gunfight in the town. We've got these sort of hustlers, bandits that have got masks on their face, not like the cowboy masks. They've actually got white hoods on, like the KKK almost. And they start shooting up the men of this town, and it's quite a gory start to the film. It is an 18. It is a gory spaghetti western, and they kill most of the town folk. And the sheriff, he kindly lets these four go on their way, as they set off in this old sort of with these horses and coach. And it's not a coach; it's more like a sort of I don't know the word for it. Let's call it a coach. And they set off on the journey, and they start talking to each other, and they find out more and more about each other, and you get to like and know these characters along the way. And it's quite funny in a lot of places. And they set off and they meet different people on their journey. The film lasts for an hour and 44 minutes. It's quite a long film, but it needs it. And as we get to know the characters, Stubby and Bunny start getting a bit close. Once they find out she's sort of pregnant and all this kind of thing. And they meet up with, on their journey, they meet up with like a group of like Christians, like church believers in their sort of wagons. And they're off, and they join them for a little bit. And they're a nice group of people. They help them out, they feed them and all this sort of thing. And then they don't want to tell them, because they know that she's pregnant, and they sort of lie saying that Stubby's her husband and all this. They didn't want to give her a bad name, so that's quite cool. And they're quite sweet. And then they part ways, and they all say these prayers for the unborn baby. And our four stay, and the coach, the wagon trail goes on its way. And then they sort of set off again on their own, and it's not long until we meet Chaco, who's the arsehole in the film. He sort of turns up and pins himself onto the group as sort of like to join them, our four heroes. But he's not there for good reasons. He's not a very nice guy. And this is the worst bit of the film. We get a little bit of animal cruelty in the film, where Chaco shoots live ducks and birds from the air, and he shoots rabbits for food. I know it's like it's not like a big sort of animal cruelty, but to me, a life is a life, and the way that the cast were sort of laughing and giggling while he was shooting it and thinking, wow, what an amazing shot he is. And that's the only bit of the film I don't like. But that was his deal, to trail along with these four, that he would provide them with food. So we get a little bit of animal cruelty. And then we see three bandits sort of heading towards them, and Chaco takes them three out with his guns as well. So they quite like Chaco at the beginning. He seems to be like a bit like a saviour. But then he turns a little bit. One of the bandits, he's tied up against a tree, and he starts to skin him alive. And he wraps these berries that he finds in this skin, and he feeds it to our four heroes. Stuff he doesn't eat his, he spits his out, but some of the others, and it makes them sort of hallucinate. And he gives a lot of drink to Clam, who's the drunk, the alcoholic, and he gets Clam to tie the other three up. And then they're all tied up, apart from Clam, who's drunk. And then Chaco rapes Bunny. Although she's pregnant, he still rapes her. And once he's done that, he decides to go. Clam has realised what he's done. He's sobered up a bit, and he heads towards Chaco. He's about to leave with a rock, but Chaco shoots him in the leg, and he's injured. Anyway, Chaco goes off and leaves the four stranded. Obviously, Chaco unties the three, and they sort of return to sort of like being uncaptured. But now Chaco, not Chaco, Clam is now injured. So they take care of his wound in a way. Stubby extracts the bullet from his knee. He was shot in the knee. It's quite gory. Again, you see like him taking it out and all this sort of stuff. And they band it up and they build a stretcher for him. And off they go on their trip, this time with no horses, no food, nothing. And they're off on their trip. And there's some wonderful sort of music playing in the background, some real sort of hippie. It almost feels like these four characters were built on, and that's going to sound really strange, but the Manson family, Charles Manson family, because these are like strangers pulled together and have become like a little family. And they are on this sort of like adventure. I know it's not like, they're not serial killers or nothing like that. It's just got that sort of feel, and the music is of the sort of 60s sort of hippie sort of music playing in the background, which suits the mood of the film. Anyway, whilst they're on their journey, they find a town which they think is empty, and they hold up in a barn, and they're all soaking wet because it's been raining and stuff, and they all sort of take their clothes off to dry off and all this. And Clam dies, unfortunately. He succumbs to his wound. They try their best to save him, but they can't. And so Bud takes Clam outside, and they think he's taken him outside to bury him, but he's not. He's taken him to another building, and he's cut off some of his flesh for them all to eat. So they start eating bits of Clam, but they don't know. The other two, Stubby and Bunny, don't know. So this film's got bits of cannibalism in the film. And you start feeling for these characters. You feel sad when Clam dies. You feel sad when all these things sort of happen to them. And then they meet some other cowboys in this town, because apparently it's not deserted. There is some other cowboys there, but these are really nice. And they take care of them. And they take care of Bunny and hopefully the baby. And then it gets to the stage where she goes into labour, and they help her give birth. And all of these cowboys, there's about a group of 15 of them, and they're all men. There's no women there, and they all fall in love with this baby that's born, and they call it Lucky. But it's not so lucky for Bunny, because Bunny dies from childbirth, which is really upsetting to Stubby. But Stubby lets them keep the baby, because he knows that he'd be better off with all these people. They put all their money together, and they're going to buy him all the best clothes and all this sort of stuff. And They're really looking out for this baby. And he thought, well, this is the best thing for the baby. So he sets off again on his horse on these travels for Chaco. And that's all I'm going to tell you. This film is an absolute ride of a spaghetti western. It's got every ingredient you love, but it adds so much more to it. It's a journey. It's like a road trip of these 4 individual people that are not really criminals. They're just in there for the wrong reason. Like I said, Bubbles in jail because he believes he can see things and he's this spiritual sort of person, so they all think he's a nutter. Clam was in there just because he's a drunk. That's all. Bunny was in there because she was a prostitute, and Stubby was in there because he's a gambler, a shady gambler. But they're not like murderers or anything like that. And it's like a road trip following it, and you get to really like these characters, all 4 of them. They're all really nice and really sweet, but they all have this bad things happen along their road trip. And the trip sort of follows them around, and you're just hoping that something good happens. And good things do happen in a sense, especially for the Lucky, the baby. So that's really, really cool. This is an amazing watch. It's a 9 out of 10. It's an absolute incredible spaghetti western film. And I'm been neglecting my other genres of films. I put my hands up to it. I'm so sorry. But I promise you, over the next few months, as well as my horror films, I will do some more spaghetti westerns, and I will be introducing some film noir to my channel, as I promised, and maybe some gangster films along the way as well as some 4K reviews, as well as some amazing horror reviews. And I'll still be going through some of the horror films, so hopefully we've got a lot coming up in the next 6 months plus. The pluses of this edition: it's wonderfully shot. It's filmed in Italy. It's an Italian film. You've got 2 options on this edition. You can watch it in Italian, or you can watch it in English dubbed. I like to watch the dubbed just because it's quite funny, but it works either way. It's fantastic. The soundtrack is amazing. The acting is absolutely spot on. Really, really cool. And Lucio Fulci, again, you can see a lot of his camera skills in this, and of course his love for gore is in this film too. It's a really, really cool western, guys. 9 out of 10. 4 of the Apocalypse, not 4. So any of you seen it? If you have, let me know down below what you think of it. I love my spaghetti westerns, but I like the proper spaghetti westerns, the Italian ones. The American ones that they call spaghetti westerns are not spaghetti westerns. They just fit under that sort of genre because they're gritty and they're a lot more violent than the normal campy American westerns that you have. Well, you know, your John Ford, your John Wayne films. They were a lot more gritty, so they sort of class them under the spaghetti westerns. There's a reason why they're called spaghetti westerns. It's because they're Italian films. And what do Italians eat? Spaghetti. So that's why it's called spaghetti western. No other reason. It's called it for that. And they made loads of them, and they're all kind of really gritty films. And I have reviewed a couple on my channel before, Cemetery of No Gates, and another Lucio Fulci one, which I have done. But I will delve into some more and I think I've also done one of Santino. I think I can't remember, Santana. But you have to have a look through there, through my channel, and have a look. But I will be doing some more, so check them out. Thanks, guys. Thanks for doing this, watching this review. I'm not going to really recommend. Yeah, I will recommend my horror channels: Horror Hands, Horror Geek, Man v Film, RS Design, Pizzawell, I Am Ice Lord, Cat Watches horror movies, Grumpy Andrew's Haunted House, and The Maniac. I wasn't going to put them in because it's not really a horror film, but as it's directed by one of the horror greats, I should really. Anyway, and a massive shout out to my lad. Till next time, look after yourselves, look after one another, and I really hope I see you all soon.